All right, welcome back. This should be the last video to get through the part 5, target 21 notes. Remember what we've been doing so far was we started talking about the relationship between angles formed inside the circle and then the arcs they create. And that angle, remember, is going to be arc plus arc divided by 2. That was the first part of these notes. The second part was angles created on the outside of our circle. And when we have angles on the outside, it's going to be arc minus arc divided by 2. And so we're still working with that property here. We've done 6 of these examples, and now we're going to get to the one that requires just a little bit more algebra. We got to find the value of x. B and C, I think, will feel very familiar to you. Will feel very familiar to us solving for an arc on the inside part. Part A is going to take a little bit of work. So here we go. Remember, we need to recognize that the angle that we're talking about is being formed on the outside here. And so remember, angle equals arc minus arc divided by 2. And so the arcs we want to look at, remember, these are tangent lines, so they hit our circle in one spot. And so we have a big arc on the outside. That would be what I'm highlighting in green here. We don't know that right now. And then we have a little arc on the inside. And we kind of know it. It's at least labeled, right? The inside arc is x. And so we need to figure out what the green arc is. And then, once again, angle equals arc minus arc divided by 2. And so once we get that green arc, we can apply that formula. Now, we need to think about it, and this is kind of a complicated thought process with that x. So I'm going to try to be as clear as possible. So I want you to think about this x right now. And I want you to look at the lines created by this angle, right? We already described that these are tangent lines, which means that because they're tangent lines, they hit once on the edge of the circle, but they never like cross through the circle, right? So neither of the sides of this angle cut our circle at all. And so if we just look at our circle itself, the whole circle is intact. None of it is split up, right? And so that means all 360 degrees apply to this circle. And so x is part of it. And then we've got this other green part. And together that's going to equal our entire 360 degrees. Well, let's say this wasn't x. Let's say this x was like 100. Well, then we would do 360 minus 100 to get the rest of the circle, right? Let's say x wasn't 100. Let's say x was 120. Then the green part would be 360 minus 120. One more time, let's say x wasn't 120, let's say it's 150. Then the green part is 360 minus 150, right? You see the pattern that's coming here? The green part is 360 minus whatever our red part is. Well, our red part happens to be x. So our green part has to be 360 minus x. And I know this feels a little bit confusing right now, but we have two arcs now, the 360 minus x part and the x itself part. And they both have one variable, and that variable is the same. It is just x. And we know the measure of our angle. And so we can actually put all three of these things into the formula up there, and we can solve for x out of it. So let's talk about how we do that. Remember, it's angle, which is 45 degrees, equals arc minus arc divided by 2. And so 45 is going to equal, and our big arc is 360 minus x. So I'm just going to put that in, 360 minus x. And then that's our big arc. So then we're going to subtract the other arc. The other arc is just x. So we'll put a minus x. And then we'll divide by 2. Now, I want to do this algebra in two parts. First, let's get rid of the divide by 2 like we've been doing. And we'll get rid of that by multiplying both sides by 2. And so the 2's will cancel on the right side. And so that'll equal. And we're going to talk about this in just a second. But let's do the left side because 2 times 45 is just 90, right? And so again, on our right side, the 2's canceled each other. And so it leaves us with what's on top. But let's combine our like terms. 360 minus 1x minus 1 more x is going to be 360 minus 2x. And now we just solve for x. And we do that by, let's start by subtracting 360 first. And so this will cancel. And 90 minus 360 is negative 270. And that equals negative 2x. And then to get x by itself, we'll just divide by negative 2. And that'll leave us with x on the right. And negative 270 divided by negative 2 is positive 135. And that's what x is. Now, you'll see an example like A every once in a while. So feel free to remember this video, come back to this part, and to just study it a little bit because I know that can be confusing. But you can do this. And so let's do our best. Now, for B and C, it's a little bit more straightforward. Remember, these angles are on the outside. And so angle equals arc minus arc divided by 2. Remember, the arcs we're talking about are always in between our two lines. And so our big line this time is, or our big arc is x. The little arc is 42. And so angle, which is 17, will equal big arc, which is x, minus little arc, which is 42, divided by 2. And so this one's a little bit simpler to solve. We'll times both sides by 2. And so on the left, 2 times 17 is 34. On the right, timesing by 2 and dividing by 2 just cancels. So it leaves x minus 42. And we just got to get x by itself by adding 42 to both sides. And that leaves us with 76 equals x. And so that arc, right, 76-degree arc. All right, one last time. And same exact deal on this one. This angle's on the outside. And so angle equals arc minus arc divided by 2. The big arc in between our two angle sides is 180. The little one is x. So 38 equals 180 minus x divided by 2. And so I'm going to times both sides by 2 again. 2 times by 2. These 2's cancel. On the left, we get 2 times 38, which is 76. And on the right is just what's in the top of the fraction, so 180 minus x. So I'm going to subtract 180 from both sides now. And 76 minus 180 is negative 104, and that equals negative x. Now, we don't want negative x, but we can just drop the negatives or divide by negative 1, and that'll tell us that x equals positive 104, right? And so that just means that this littler arc right here, 104-degree arc. Awesome. So that is part 5, angles on the outside and on the inside of our circles. If they are on the inside, like our original examples, it's arc plus arc divided by 2. If they are on the outside, like these most recent examples, it's arc minus arc divided by 2. So go ahead and grab the part 5 worksheet. Go ahead and apply those properties. There's a whole bunch of problems for you to work through. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you again on our homework review tomorrow. Thanks very much.